And welcome into a special mandatory Ultimate Cavs show. Earl the Pearl, Mikey McNuggets. We got Anthony behind the glass. Guys, we woke up this morning to some rumors about a potential James Harden for Darius Garland swap. Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated was the first to report it. It has been now confirmed that they are at least discussing the idea of trading Darius Garland to the Los Angeles Clippers in exchange for James Harden. It has come out that James Harden wants a longer-term commitment from the Los Angeles Clippers. He is currently on the last guaranteed year of his deal. He has a player option for next season. The Clippers won't give him any money past 2027. He's looking for at least a 2-year deal worth $40 million each. You can see how the money on the screen there compares if the Cavs or whoever were to agree to this 2-year extension that James Harden wants. According to Mark Stein, it's a 2-year, $40 million annual average value extension after this season. So you can compare the contracts. In theory, it would line up the same length as Darius Garland's current contract. If the Cavs were to make this one-for-one swap, they would pay James Harden the remainder of his salary this year at age 36, $40 million at age 37, $40 million at age 38. You can see on the other side, it's 26, 27, and 28 for Darius Garland, not 38. That's a typo. I'll fix that for you. CSS come up in a little bit. So they saved themselves about $7 million overall, Earl. So not a gigantic money save. But before we dive into my thoughts, I just talked for 2 minutes straight. When you saw the initial report, Cavs discussing a trade for James Harden involving a Darius for James swap, Earl, your immediate thoughts were?
My first reaction was, who the hell wants James Harden? And that was only because if you think back to, his time throughout the playoffs when it became time for a big game, James Harden really didn't show up. But then when you think about it and you remove your emotions from it, I think a trade for James Harden, and honestly, man, Mike, I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense for the construction of the Cleveland Cavaliers and what his skill set is. First and foremost, he's 6'5". He's a bigger, stronger body. He's an elite passer. His playmaking ability is one of the best that we've ever seen. Regardless of what we think about his playoff performances, James Harden is a top 75 player in NBA history. It gets Donovan Mitchell off the ball. And with Darius Garland, dealing with the injuries off and on over the last couple seasons, let's be real. Donovan can run point, but Donovan is not best suited running point.
Correct.
And you limit what he can do best for the Cleveland Cavaliers when he's on ball. So it definitely gets somebody that, can get him off ball. And I think it gets you another dog, quite honestly, on his team. Regardless, again, of those few playoff performances, James Harden is a dude that got some heart. You know what I mean? He comes with a little bit of attitude and a little bit of edge. And that's something that you need.
You think he has heart?
I do.
He's quit on 3 different teams.
I still think he got heart.
He straight up quit on Houston. He straight up quit on Brooklyn. And the Clippers have won 16 to 20 games, Earl, and he says, I want out now because you won't give me more money. James Harden is a good player. He's top 75. I agree with a lot of the stuff you said. I can't say he has heart. He's quit on 3 teams.
And the dude is more durable.
Quit on 3 teams. Now,
and he's more durable than what we have now.
When I first saw the report, my immediate thought was no. Then I thought about it a little more. I talked to some people. I still don't love the idea of the trade, full disclosure, but I can talk myself into it. So let me give you the pros and cons, at least how I see it, of a James Harden deal. First and foremost, the durability thing is legit.
Right.
James Harden, for all the shortcomings, when he doesn't play, it's because he doesn't want to play, right? He sat out in Houston when he wanted to get traded. He sat out at the end of his Brooklyn tenure when he wanted to get traded. He sat out the last 2 games in LA. You know why? Because he wants to get traded. It's not because he's injured. He has been incredibly durable over the course of his career. Incredibly durable. And that's something that Darius Garland simply has not been. For their upside, for their talents, we could go back and forth on a few different things. The durability, 10 out of 10 for James Harden, nowhere near a 10 out of 10 for Darius Garland. So if the Cavs have fears that Darius, who's still recovering from a second toe situation now, will never get back to being Darius, then it makes a little more sense. He is an elite passer. Or I talked to an NBA coach this morning who coached James Harden back in Philly.
Okay.
Said outside of Jokic, he's the best passer I've ever seen. See, those are exact words. Outside of Nikola Jokic, James Harden is the best passer I've ever seen. Every big that James Harden has ever played with has had the best season of their career with James Harden. He is an absolute maestro in the pick and roll, a magician. And he would make Jared Allen and Evan Mobley significantly better and more offensive threats the second he steps onto that court. We've seen the DG-JA pick and roll have a lot of success in the past. We saw Jared Allen score 40 against Portland the other night. You want to get the best out of JA. You want to get maybe the most you can out of the pick and roll Evan Mobley. You pair him up with a James Harden because that is what he does best. The playoff numbers are not that good compared to the regular season numbers.
Agreed.
His Game 7 stats He's a top 75 player of all time. He's like a bottom 7 player in the history of Game 7s, if not the worst Game 7 player ever.
Look at the drop-off.
I know, it's nuts. It's nuts. It's a lot of times because teams focus in on him so much. A lot of it is he plays heliocentric. A lot of it is he just mentally doesn't seem to be ready for that moment. But the Cavs are in championship or bust mode right now, right? Like, they're the most expensive roster in basketball. They're a second-apron team. They're going to have some serious financial decisions to make after this season, regardless of whether this move goes through, regardless of what they make outside of this move happen. If you believe that Darius will not get back to 100% this year, and you believe that there's a chance that maybe Donovan asks for a trade if they don't make it out of the second round because he wants to go to a place where he feels more confident he can win a championship, or if you feel like you have to blow up this roster and restart after, I see the 1-year upside to this. I'm not sure I see the long-term upside to this. But if the Cavs pull this off, I can talk myself into it. I will find ways to talk myself into it. Even if I don't believe he's necessarily a great fit with Don, even if I don't necessarily trust his playoff track record, and even if I don't necessarily trust the fact that he may fit into this locker room as seamlessly as I think they need to maximize their talents, I could talk myself into it if I have to, if the Cavs pull the trigger.
I ain't really worried about the locker room part. Me and you know that locker room pretty well, and that locker room is pretty strong and pretty healthy. And so there's enough in that locker room to, regardless of what the speculation of what he might bring, I think he can fit into that. I think there's enough to overcome that part of it. But I think you already just talked yourself into it. And I think everything that you just said, it exploits, to me, him being able to get the most out of the guys that are not Donovan Mitchell per se, right? And you talk about just like looking at this roster. I thought about this on my drive in to work. The early season injuries turned out to be a really, really good thing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And just let me explain why. I think that without the adversity that this early part of the season brought about and the injuries, it would have never exploited areas and issues with this team that it ended up exploiting. Before we even get to what it exploited, it also created an opportunity to see more Jalen Tyson and more Naquan Tomlin.
For sure.
And these are two dudes who have emerged to be key role players for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Two dudes who are high energy guys and two dudes who play with a whole lot of heart and a whole lot of dog in them. And those are guys that, quite honestly, bro, I think they develop much faster than what we thought that they were.
Because they're getting minutes.
Because they're getting minutes due to the injuries. And now maybe Kobe Altman is looking at this and reassessing this roster in real time. And you just think about all the moves that's been made, right? When you consider the fact that Darius Garland got hurt and the Lonzo Ball trade was a disaster. You get a dude in here like Keon Ellis who is like Isaac Okoro on steroids with a better shot, right? And then you get a Schroeder in here right now that can be that ball handling, facilitating backup point guard if need be. Well, now you're talking about trading an injury-prone Darius Garland and saving $7 million for a guy that's a much better passer, for a guy that is a lot bigger and a lot better defensively, and that's still a top 75 player. I just think it's looking at this roster and reassessing in real time what the Cavs have, who are the best players right now, forget the projected best players, and making moves to fit in and accommodate those dudes and seeing if we can chase a championship. So maybe everything that happened early on and how things played out, it can turn out to be a good thing for the Cavaliers. You already kind of got yourself closer than getting under that apron by trading away DeAndre Hunter. And now if you can find a way to make this move, you got to figure things out past this year, but I think it helps the Cavs significantly this year for what they're trying to do. You brought up the fact that hypothetically, or it could be a scenario to where Donovan might ask for a trade if we can't get out the second round. So we got to focus on where we at right now. We'll deal with next season. That's
kind of why I said I could talk myself. I still don't like it. I don't think he fits with Don. Like, I'm going to be totally honest.
Why? I'm just curious why.
So James Harden gives you nothing off ball. He's going to stand in the corner or stand at the top in the back corner and just be out of the picture. He doesn't cut. He doesn't move. He is a good three-point shooter as a standstill shooter, but he doesn't do anything. Kenny Atkinson's whole offensive system is predicated on guys moving, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Getting to the paint, cutting. James Harden's a heliocentric player. He needs the ball. He wants to slow it down, dribble, probe, wait for the pick and roll to come, run pick and roll. Donovan Mitchell's way too good to be designated as a three-point guy in the corner. He's just too good. And I think right now, and I don't think there's even a debate, Don's better than James Harden.
Yeah.
So Are you going to defer and give the offense to James Harden? Because that's how every team James Harden has ever been.
I think you're looking at it wrong. Just my opinion. I think you're looking at it as this is James Harden 5 years ago walking into Cleveland. This is James Harden walking into Cleveland. If this happens.
That's what he's doing in LA right now.
Yeah,
though.
but that's LA. You walk into Cleveland and in this situation, James Harden's role is different. However James Harden think about himself or whatever it is James Harden want to do, that you can kill that. You can kill that noise right now.
I think realistically,
you got to get with the program that we got going.
But
now.
he hasn't shown the capability to do that. He didn't do that when he was with
Maybe
the 76ers. He wants more money. The Clippers have won 16 to 20 games, and he's like, "Nah, guys, I'm out. You won't give me." Ant's trying to hop in here.
Mike is so right on this. I just want you to know. Earl.
Like in a pipe dream world, I hear you, but like he's just never shown the propensity to be willing to do it. And maybe he could change. He's 36. He's been on a lot of different teams, right?
Yeah.
He has played along some other really good guards, Westbrook, Chris Paul. Like it's not like he's been the only guy his entire career, but he's played the exact same style regardless of who he's been around. I just don't know at age 36 now, he was drafted in what, 05? So this is, it was 07? So whatever, he's been in the league 17 years, I think. All of a sudden, now he's going to change in the midst of having a career where he's averaging 25, So
I hear you. Listen.
So it's like maybe you're right, and I hope.
And you could be totally right.
I just don't see. It's like, can a tiger change his stripes? Like this, James Harden is who James Harden is. He's been this way. He's a top 75 player of all time. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's an MVP in this league because of the way he plays.
I just don't see Kenny changing everything that the Cleveland Cavaliers do because we acquire like James Harden. I think that before a deal is made, is it fair to say we trust Kobe Altman more often than we not to acquire the right talent and get the right guys in here?
He's done a good job putting together.
He's done a good job doing so. Yeah. For this to even be a discussion, I'm pretty sure conversations is being had, due diligence is being done. I just don't want to believe that James Harden will be that foolish to try to walk into this situation and think it's anything of the past.
What track record of his 18-year career makes you think?
There's none.
So it's blind hope.
It's blind hope.
So blind hope that James Harden, who's played the exact same way and has been incredibly successful at. So I don't see the fit with Don. Now, I do think makes Jarrett and Evan significantly better. Like I do think there are ways that they could fit together in a world where James Harden's willing to accept a certain role. I just don't know if James Harden's willing to accept a certain role. And he says, I want to win a championship. I want to know I'm going to be in a certain place for a certain amount of time, right? So that means the Cavs don't trade for him. If you're going to take his word, or if you're going to take the reporting at its value, which is the Clippers won't commit money to him past 2027. He has a player option, so he wants at least 2 more years. He wants $80 million over 2 years. He's going to come into the situation, say, yeah, you're giving me an extension. I'm James Harden. I'm an MVP. Don, what have you won, by the way? Are you an MVP? Hey, Don, have you ever made it past the second round of playoffs? Oh, I have. Now, he's choked in those situations, but he has been to a Western Conference Finals, almost beat the Warriors that year. He has a higher status in the league. Whether Don's a better player, I'm not saying that he just has accomplished more in his career than Don has. All of a sudden, he's going to fall into being second or third. I don't see that happening. I just don't trust James Harden. Now, Cavs are in championship or bust mode. I said that before, right? Mm-hmm. You got to take some big swings, and maybe that's the bet you're willing to take. That you can talk, James. You could be the first person. We've all had situations. You meet a girl, or a girl meets a guy who's a little broken, has some trouble passing, and you're like, I could fix that person, right? How many times does it work? There are instances where it does.
Analytics show it's not
more
usually
often
a
than
successful
not.
situation.
Exactly. So to me, that's my hesitation with it. But now here's the other part. If you're Darius Garland, right, and they're in LA tonight, right? They play the Clippers
tomorrow.
And you hear your name being thrown into trade rumors like this. It's not the first time Darius Garland's been thrown into trade rumors. Let's say it doesn't come to fruition. Let's say this doesn't end up turning into anything serious. It's just discussions. How are you going to feel walking back in that locker room? I feel like now the cat's out of the bag, they almost have to pull the trigger on this, whether I think it's the right move or not.
So that's a twofold question there, right? Because
kind of goes back to what we talked about in the group chat last night.
You see where I'm going? I'm trying to find a way
in a different,
to articulate it without like comparing. I'll say this about the situation, right? The Cleveland Cavaliers, by most fans' account, is not built to win the championship right now.
I would agree.
Okay?
I would agree.
And so if you just seen how the season is played out, and if you've watched the games and you've watched the emergence of certain players and you've watched other players not meet your expectations, and you see the Cavs making all these moves that signifies, okay, they're trying to get tougher, they're trying to get better defensively, and they are trying to play off of who they believe are the core guys right now, then we got to give whatever big swing that they try to make a fair chance, because it's the same thing that I said with Kevin Stefanski. You can't say you want Kevin Stefanski fired and then not be able to give whatever changes come about a chance to even work or not, right? And it's the same thing with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Damn near everybody that cheered for this team believes that this team right now, currently as constructed, cannot win a championship. And so if Kobe Altman is probably realizing the same thing and he has the ability to make some moves right here mid-season, in season, then you got to do what you got to do and see if it worked. At the end of the day, we all know the core players on this team is who? Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley.
Yep.
And we don't hear Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley names being brought up. So now all of a sudden that we get to the point to where, okay, this core can be broken up and that's now like a realistic thing. Don't hit the panic button.
Well, we've heard Mobley's name be thrown in with Giannis rumors. So really it's the Donovan Mitchell. He's the one guy we're trying to build around.
Heard Jared Allen's name this morning.
They have been, according to reports, actively shopping Jared and DG for a while. And this is the first time it feels like they're getting something of a bite back on the DG train.
That 40 and 17 came right on time.
I will say this, like, when you're in a championship mindset, you do have to take big swings. And I don't think there's a ton of value out there for Darius Garland right now because
I agree with that because of the injuries.
Just the injuries.
He's a very talented young dude, but he's injured.
If he had 100% bill of health,
yeah,
there would be legitimate interest. But I understand why teams are hesitant to give up significant assets for Darius Garland. And this could be the Cavs looking at a situation where they just don't trust his toe long term. And even if they do commit 2 more years to James Harden, right, and they save $7 million over 3 years, it's minimal savings. James Harden is more durable, and that's a guy we could at least foresee in a playoff series not having to count on a backup as much.
You brought up a point on yesterday's show, and I thought it was a great point, and it made me think about last year's playoff run. We underestimated how much a disaster things was about to be after Darius Garland got hurt.
Damn enough ball handling.
Like, you talk about getting a guy like Keon Ellis, right? And one of the issues was, being able to defend those guards from getting past you. And that was the Cavs' Achilles heel throughout that playoff run. And so I think a trade for Keon Ellis, it improves that. But if the Cavs is looking at this situation like, all right, we lost DG in the playoffs last year, and that hurt us. And DG'd have been in and out the lineup all season.
Yeah.
I got to do something to stabilize the ball handling. I got to do something to stabilize the playmaking because I cannot let an injury to Darius Garland derail what the plans is for the season. You got to do something.
Not for the season, for the future.
For the future, period.
And Tim Bontemps put out the report yesterday. The teams around the league are monitoring the Donovan Mitchell situation. We're going to talk about it on UCSS later this afternoon, or in about an hour, give or take. You can't have an early playoff flameout. You cannot. And whether I think Harden's a good fit next to Don or not, I'd be silly to say that a guaranteed Harden is not a higher ceiling outcome for Cleveland
Exactly.
than a compromised version of Darius Garland. Whether he comes back at 100%, we could have that discussion, Harden versus 100% DG. How can you say with any confidence that you're going to get 100% DG? So, once again, I can see the idea and the reasoning necessarily behind this, even if I don't necessarily love the fit. The one thing you mentioned earlier I wanted to kind of point out, we'll go 5 more minutes. And do we have any super chats? All right, so we'll do super chats at the very end. If Don is the guy that you are committed to building around, which he should be, I would just want to put pieces around Don that I think fit best with Don. And that's where the James Harden, Don fit, I don't see working as well as you do. Mm-hmm. And for the next 2-3 years, that's kind of what scares me. If you're going to actually pair those two up for 2-3 years, you're taking away from Don what he does best.
I hear you to a degree because of he's an elite playmaker and passer. And I think that honestly puts Donovan Mitchell in better situations. Now I hear you. He don't move. He gonna stand in the corner, man. But if they collapse on Don, you can swing it back out and he can hit that shot. But more than that, like when you talk about the locker room stuff, you're talking about how he's handled situations in the past. We've really gotten to know Donovan Mitchell on a personal level when the cameras is off.
He wants to win.
And just because of that alone, we know like what his energy is like, his personality is like, and how people gravitate towards that in that building and in that locker room. And I just don't think that James Harden is going to come in here and, regardless of this whole "I'm James Harden" attitude, and disrupt what's been being built, quite honestly, over the last 3 or 4 years. I just don't think Don gonna let him walk in that building and think you run stuff. I just don't. I just don't.
We'll
Y'all know what I was about to say.
I wish he had a better playoff track record.
Facts, I do too. I wish he had a better Game 7 record, man, but different strokes for different folks. And I hear you. He done played with Westbrook, man. You done played with Kevin Durant. You done played with Chris Paul. You done played with some great players. Kawhi, the whole
Does it scare you at all that the Clippers have literally won 16 to 20 games, are the best team in basketball the last 20 games, and they're like, nah, I'm out now?
Some.
Like, they're literally the hottest team in basketball right now.
Yeah.
And he's like, you don't want to pay me, I'm out. Like.
But that's, I say this. That's what we know, right? And me and you both know. It's always things that we'll never know that go on.
Yeah,
maybe the "you ain't gonna pay me" was the excuse he was looking for, based on some other things. Who knows? Who knows?
I can only go off the reporting from
Mark
facts.
Stein and the other guys. That's
what it's been indicated as. So yeah, that's at least the premise of the DG for Harden swaps. Like I said, I don't right now. I hate saying gun to your head. So if you had to make a decision, would you make the trade? Yes or no? If it was offered straight up,
I'm making the trade.
Making the trade. Last thing we'll talk about real quick. It has been discussed. Chris Mannix this morning was on with Ken and Lima and said the Cavs have asked the Clippers for trade compensation back. They want a first-round pick. Clippers said, hell no, we're not giving you a first-round pick. If that's the holdup, do you think that's a big enough holdup to stop this deal from going through?
It depends on what the Cavs' other plans are.
That's what I was going to get to.
It depends on what the Cavs' other plans are.
That's what I was going to get to.
Because that compensation for the Cavs, depending on what they're trying to do, might be bigger than James Harden.
I could not agree more.
That's why we're a team.
That is the last thing I want to allude to here. If the holdup on this truly is a first-round pick, that means there is something else up Kobe Altman's sleeve. Because money-wise, this works straight up. Darius makes slightly more than James Harden does. And throw the money graphic up again. You guys can see it. And the money on Harden's side, by the way, is if he were to get the 2-year, $80 million extension that's being reported. And once again, I have a typo. I got to fix that on Darius Garland. He's not going to turn from 27 to 38. He's going to turn from 27 to 28.
Hey.
So that's how the money would line up.
He turned to 27 to 38. Hell yeah, that's a win for the Cavs.
So that's supposed to be 28. Once again, my apologies. I'll fix that for UCSS. And the money on the left is if the Cavs were to give him that 2-year, $80 million extension he's looking for. If they're holding up for a first-round pick, that means they are trying to acquire draft capital to grease a deal somewhere else.
Yeah.
Maybe Milwaukee.
Somewhere else.
Maybe somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
But all I can tell you guys is, it is 10:19 a.m. on Tuesday morning. The Cavs don't have a roster spot for Naquan Tomlin. So something is going to happen. This is legitimate. These trade talks
That's for
are
real.
legitimate on both sides.
Buckle up.
I can confirm from both sides of the equation that they are in the talks. How far, how significant, how progressed, that's depending on how you want to interpret certain comments. But these are legitimate talks. There's been trade rumors this morning about Jared Allen and Max Strus as well.
Yes.
I would not be surprised that if in the next 5 hours and 2 days and 5 hours, 53 hours, if the Cavs don't make 3 moves.
When we look back,
I think 3 moves are coming by Thursday.
When we look back after all of this, when it's all said and done, and we're going to say, how did we get here? And the conversation is going to start with Jalen Tyson and Naquan Tomlin.
They're definitely part of it. And let me do a read for Mally's, and we'll get our super chat and we'll head out of here. But, guys, all you need is love and chocolate. This Valentine's Day, be ready to say those 3 little words. I got Mally's, from friendship to love to every situationship in between. Mally's has the perfect chocolate to say what you feel. Our famous chocolate-covered strawberries and grapes are back in stores February 13th and 14th, and like the rest of your Valentine's favorites. Gold Cup assortments, foil-wrapped solid milk and dark chocolate hearts, peanut butter, caramel, raspberry, and marshmallow-filled hearts, and so much more. They're all in stores and online now. This Valentine's Day, say it with me, Earl, it's Mally's. Ant, give us a super chat, then we'll head out of here and get ready for UCSS.
All right, guys, real quick, I got 2. Phil says, can you imagine next year could be Braun, Mitchell, Harden, Mobley, and Tyson? And then Caleb says, Sam Amick says the Cavs talking to teams about Jared Allen trades.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time. That is not new. Shout out to Sam.
Shout out to everybody that watched this
Yeah.
morning. Shout out to everybody that did the super chat. Thanks for having me on the Ultimate Cleveland Cavaliers show.
We waited for you to come in and do this.
It's been a pleasure, man.
So,
it's been a pleasure.
Glad this worked out. We're back on UCSS in 38 minutes and 32 seconds if you're being.